Just recording a short video today about internet connection speeds, one of my obsessions, and got back to Australia to find that our internet connection speed here had kind of degraded over the year to about 8 or 9 megabits per second. We were getting 12, 14 last year. So we've now got 100 megabits per second speeds available in Australia, or in Sydney at least. So I thought I'll have some of that. So I upgraded my service this week. And so I've got some research to show you about what the impact of that is on loading charts with TradeStation. But as a little bit of background, let me just refer to an article I put up last year. So on the website, if you go to this article, How to Day Trade, that you'll find under the Emini trading set of links here, and go down to the practicalities of day trading, there's a series of articles here, and this one called Running Charting Software, 8 Tips and Tricks is the one I'm referring to. Now on this article, 8 Tips and Tricks, the first suggestion that I have is to get the fastest internet connection possible. Just talking about kind of where the speed matters. Is it in the processing or is it in your internet connection? And when you look at your charts loading, certainly on TradeStation, you can see that the majority of the time is spent kind of waiting for data. Once the data has been pulled into the chart, the calculation of the indicators and plotting the chart actually takes a fraction of a second. Most of the time is spent kind of waiting for the data to be loaded onto the chart. So it's always been my assumption that your internet connection speed is absolutely key in getting that data to the chart. Well, jury is now in with this latest connection speed upgrade that I've got, and let me show you what the results are. So in terms of a summary, the starting point was last week's speed that I had, about 8.8 megabits per second, and just loading 2 of my tick charts, and tick charts are the most kind of processor intensive and data intensive of all the chart types. So I was loading 2 types of charts, my day trading charts and my long-term charts. That's the 500, 1500 and 4500 tip bar chart, which took 10 seconds to load, and then the long-term chart, which is a 4500, 13,500 and 40,500 tip bar chart, took 38 seconds to load using that 8.8 megabits per second connection. This week now I've got an upgraded connection speed at about 50.5 megabits per second, which is 5.8 times faster. Now, although the advertised speed is about 100 megabits per second, you'll never get that, all of that. Plus, I'm using a Wi-Fi connection instead of a straight cable connection to the box. So there's going to be some kind of lack of speed there. I tested it earlier in the morning. It was about over 60 megabits per second, but running at 50 megabits a second, which is frankly night and day between what I've been used to, here in Australia, certainly overseas. In Spain, it was, barely 4. France, we're getting about 13 plus. Hawaii's been about 10 kind of plus. California was pretty disappointing at only about, I think, kind of remember 6 or 7 in California. So there is kind of a wide variation, and so getting up to 50 megabits per second for me is an absolute kind of godsend. And certainly in terms of productivity and moving around, doing different things online today has been really good. But those are the numbers for the charts. Identical, exactly the same. No difference in the chart loading speeds, and I've kind of measured that. I'll tag on the actual kind of loads of that. In the commentary I kind of estimate using a watch. I actually kind of went to the screen recording and did it more accurately using the screen recording, and it came out almost identical, 10 seconds and 38 seconds for loading those charts, which leads me to a conclusion. Above a certain minimum kind of connection speed, which is frankly in the 8 to 12 kind of megabits per second area, there really is no impact in terms of the speed of loading charts, which leads me to a couple of other conclusions. The limiting factor must be at the TradeStation servers, kind of getting the data coming out of there. So the speed at which the data is being disseminated from the TradeStation servers is, my assumption would be that is the limiting factor. I must admit there's a change that I made to my hardware over the last couple of months. Got the latest kind of Apple computer with a solid state drive, and that's actually made a big difference in terms of opening software, running charts, just general usability of my machine is I would say a factor of maybe 40% better in terms of what it was prior to that. So I'm very happy with that kind of move. But interestingly, I thought the internet connection would have a marked difference, but to have no difference at all is a bit of a kind of revelation to me. Anyway, so maybe you'll find that interesting. Maybe you've got some other kind of experience. Maybe we've got some network engineers that kind of understand how this all works and where the bottlenecks are. And if you are kind of having trouble with your tick charts or getting to the load quicker, what you need to work on. I would actually just reference another little comment that I made in this article, getting the most from your charting software. In terms of TradeStation, at least, reloading your cache data regularly has in the past made a big difference. What I've noticed moving up to TradeStation 9, and I'm actually on 9.1 at the moment, actually, when we moved up to TradeStation 9, the caching kind of problems that I've seen in the past, I haven't had any since, not one, so I'm extremely kind of pleased with that. But if you are kind of running an older version of TradeStation, if you do find your tick charts kind of slowing down, this actually makes a huge difference. There is some kind of bug fixes or problems with the tick data being corrupted, and that kind of slows down your charts. So you just kind of restart, delete your caches, and kind of restart your charts, and things kind of go back to really as normal. So there we go. Just a couple of suggestions. I'll tag on the actual, me opening the charts and running the tests if you're interested in that. But again, for me, a little bit of a revelation in terms of the conclusions there. Tuesday, 10th of April 2012, just doing a speed test on my cable internet modem connection, and I use speedtest.net, this website, so wherever we are traveling, to get a consistent measurement of my internet kind of download speed. So let me just run this here, see what we kind of come up with. Ping value of 9 milliseconds, which actually isn't bad, but the download speed here you can see is running at just over 8, which is pretty poor. When we're in France, we're usually running at about 13 to 15 kind of megabits per second download speed. Upload speeds, 1.5, something like that. And this upload speed looks like it's about 1. Just over 1. Obviously kind of less concerned about upload speeds. This is the the major kind of number for me. So there we go. That's the result on Tuesday, 10th of April. 8.76 megabits per second, which is pretty poor really. So I'm upgrading in a couple of days time, so I will see what that looks like then. In the meantime, I'm also going to show you how long it takes for one of my charts to upload. Okay, here we are in TradeStation. I'm just going to open one of my normal day trading charts, which is a 500, 1500, and 4500 tip bar chart. So just going to time this crudely just on a watch. Did a first open a few minutes ago, and that was just over 30 seconds, and this is, there we go, so that was just over 10 seconds, maybe 11 or 12 seconds to open those three windows. Let me just do that for my long-term chart here, and this is a little bit harder for it. So this is the 4500 tip bar chart, 13,500 tip bar chart, and 40,500 tip bar chart. There we go. So just under 40 seconds for that second window to open, second set of windows to open. So the 500, 1500, and 4500 was about 12 seconds, and then just over 40 seconds for the higher time frame tip bar chart. So let's see what that looks like in a couple of days' time. It's just under a week later. It is the Monday, 16th of April 2012. New modem has arrived, hooked up and everything. So let me just show you the improvement in speed. Same test again, speedtest.net. Ping value is about 8 milliseconds, and download speed now, it's up in the 50s. I ran that an hour or two ago. It's up in the 60s. Anyway, so I suppose, so there we go, 50 megabits per second. The settings supposed to be up to 100 megabits per second. I suppose I'd get a better performance if I was using a direct cable connection instead of a Wi-Fi connection. But that's still a vast improvement on the 9 megabits per second that I was getting. So there we go. About 2 on the upload, which really doesn't matter, but 50 odd on the download speed. So that is a fair improvement on what I was getting. So what does that mean now for my tick charts? So here we are now inside TradeStation. I'm just going to open up my regular day trading chart here. There we go. So that was bang on 11 seconds for my regular day trading chart. Now let's try the long-term chart. There we go. About 37 seconds. So to be honest, that's almost identical to what I was running last week. Anyway, interesting test.